and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Eugene. We are so very glad you are here with us today. A special welcome to our Zoom friends coming in from the Ethernets. Zoom friends, please know, we do read the chat. We save the chat. We discuss the chat. Join the chat. Tell us how you're doing. You are an important member of our community. Thank you for sharing your time with us. My name is Zephyr Burton. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a middle-aged, middle-sized white guy with fabulous hair, a plaid shirt, and denims. I have been a part of this community for 4 years. And yet, somehow, I have avoided saying, I am your worship associate this morning. Fen, could you please come up? We are assisted this morning by Fen, who will light the chalice, symbol of our shared faith, while I share these words to invite us to embrace possibility. What if our religion was each other? What if practice was every action we took? What if prayer was every word we speak? What if the temple was the earth, the forests our sanctuary, the waters holy, every creature our ken? If we lived as if nothing truly belonged to us, if everything was given like fruit on a branch, meant to be shared, meant to be passed from hand to hand? What if love was not something we stored up, but something we set in motion, given freely, received with gratitude, returned again to the world? And now, let us say the words of our mission, which express our shared purpose. Empowered by love, we transform ourselves and serve our world.
Happy Earth Day Sunday, everyone. My name is Jen Youngsun Rue, and I serve this beautiful congregation. I use pronouns she and her. And if it would help you to have a visual description, I'm wearing my rainbow stole today over a red jacket. The other day, someone popped into my office to give me 4 baby tomato plants, each a different variety, each brought to life from a single tiny seed and delivered as a simple gift. It was a moment of surprise that just delighted my heart. You know that feeling of receiving something unexpected? It's like, whether that gift came from another human or from one of our more than human friends, you know this feeling, right? Of receiving something that you didn't necessarily ask for. Maybe you didn't even know you wanted it, and boom, there it was. Wow. The esteemed Potawatomi botanist, Robin Wall Kimmerer, she is out on the land picking berries. One for the pail, one for her mouth, one for the birds. In Potawatomi language, the berry bush is known as bozak min. Bozak means best, the very best, and min means berry. But min also means gift. The word for berry and gift are the same. Kimmerer writes, "This abundance of berries feels like a pure gift from the land. I have not earned, paid for, nor labored for them. There is no mathematics of worthiness that reckons I deserve them in any way, and yet here they are. along with the sun and the air and the birds and the rain. My friends, what are we to do with this extravagant abundance? Historically, when humans have encountered abundance, we store it up. We don't trust the generosity of life. We don't trust one another. And so we have created industries and economic systems where Earth's bounty can be hoarded in great big piles. The market economy that we all live under has helped to raise millions of people out of poverty. The system has brought incredible innovation and technologies that have improved the health and well-being of many people. And the environmental and social costs of this extractive, exploitative system are so evident that people are seeking alternatives. What if more of us could take part in a system that promotes sharing instead of accumulating, protects what we love rather than harming them, and works in partnership and reciprocal relationships with the earth rather than extracting every last resource that she has? Come. Let us reimagine our currencies of exchange. Come, let us worship together.
My name is Sandy Goldie, and I'm an elder with white hair, I guess, and a shirt with green leaves on it, and I use she, her pronouns. Jen asked me about when I became a climate activist. Well, if there was such a moment, it had to be about 35 years ago when I was teaching kindergarten. I was teaching a unit on the Amazon rainforest, and we talked about the importance of stopping deforestation. We sang together, "Help save the Amazon, the lungs of the earth." And one Monday morning, there was that moment. Little Matt came running into the classroom and he said, "Teacher, teacher, I know how to save the Amazon." And I said, "That's great, Matt. Tell me." And so he opened his hand and showed me this little pile of coins. And he said, "I just asked my mom and dad and the neighbors to give me money to save the rainforest. And here it is." And I said, "That's great. Would you tell the other kids?" So he did. And several fundraisers later, we actually purchased a few acres of rainforest through the Nature Conservancy. Yeah. The lesson I learned from Matt that day was a simple one. When you see something that's wrong, do something. When my husband and I moved to Eugene in 2022, environmentalist Bill McKibben had just founded the Third Act, working for climate and democracy, and having fun in the process. Eugene needed a chapter for the Third Act Oregon, so we started one. Our first action was to ask Costco to stop using Citibank as their credit card, since Citibank funds fossil fuel expansion. And then I got to dress as a hot dog outside Costco headquarters. Well, some of the others in our group went inside and got the groundwork laid to start talks between Costco and Citibank. I've also closed my account at Bank of America and found other ways to keep my money from supporting fossil fuels. Many of us have gone to Salem to lobby for climate bills. And 2 weeks ago, we went to Portland to support the young kids in our Children's Trust as they went to the Ninth Circuit Court to defend their right to a healthy environment. We've written postcards to support candidates who champion climate and democracy. But much of our climate activism starts right here at the UU Church, where the Earth Action Team meets monthly, and we all share ideas on how we can make a difference. We keep the conversation going between meetings, sharing ideas from the Third Act, 350 Eugene, Interfaith Earth Keepers, and other groups that are working for a healthy climate. As James Baldwin famously wrote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." Let's face climate change together. When asked what can one person do, Bill McKibben answered, "Stop being one person." I invite you to join with me and discover what is yours to do, to slow extreme weather events and leave behind us a healthier world. On the back of today's bulletin is a fairly lengthy list of actions you can take, many from the comfort of your own home, so that together we can make a difference. Thank you.
Today, we are going to practice a new way of seeing. I'd like you to play along. It's really very simple. Think of a circle, think of an arrow, and then take a fresh look. Circle, arrow, fresh look. Simple, so easy. Say it with me. Circle, arrow, fresh look. You guys have got it down. Super great. Our oldest stories are about people who have looked to the magic arts for tools and techniques that enhance perception, wisdom, divine loyalty. Today we have games where one might seek out a hat of +2 wisdom or glasses of true seeing in order to get an edge. But in truth, people have been looking for that hat of +2 wisdom for a really long time. And occasionally, they've come away with some real inspiration. Do you want a magic power to enhance your life? Do you need a technique to enhance your perception to the possibilities of life? Well, I'm giving it to you now. Circle, arrow, fresh look. I hope you're ready. Here we go. I invoke the genius of this community of Unitarian Universalists in Eugene, Oregon. I call forth the spirit of our church to shine brightly, to illuminate our way. I invoke the higher mind of all those who have gathered here together to speak truth. May the genius of our august body inspire us with the right thoughts, right actions, and right motivations for ourselves and for each other. I invoke the abundant earth in the form of the blue-green circle. Mother of all life, matrix of manifestation, eternal font of evolutionary change, a great blue-green sphere highlighted by the sun, murmurations of birds and fish, migrations of bison and butterfly, annual cycles of rebirth and regrowth, fruiting and fall. The Artemis II astronauts saw the abundant earth from the moon, where it appeared to them as a blue-green circle. This blue-green circle is a door that opens up to a dramatic spread of diverse climate and geologic conditions, species variation with constant change, and everywhere, always, life always growing, consuming, passing from phase to phase, manifestation to manifestation. When you think of a blue-green circle on a dark background, you will think of the abundant earth. You will be overwhelmed with the realization with how much the earth provides. Om. I invoke the spirit of life in the form of a yellow arrow. I call forth the universal self, the star from which all ancestors came, the interconnection between ourselves and all other living things, the primary derivative of universal consciousness over millions of lifetimes. Grant us awareness of your presence. The spark of life within us exists in all things, In all ways, in every action, we interconnect with those around us, weaving our lives into a spiritual tapestry that tightly binds us to each other in times of upset and calamity, but in all times, it is present and vital. This yellow arrow is a key that unlocks the blue-green door of abundant earth. When you think of a yellow arrow on a dark background, you will think of the spirit of life, and your light will shine forth onto the world around you. Om. Even for those of us who see well, the act of sight is very expensive, and so we don't do it. What I mean to say is, it takes a lot of mental energy and resources to translate the images captured by our eyeballs into meaningful context. So generally, we don't do it. Instead, we compare an expectation of what we think we're going to see against a tiny glimpse of what's right in front of us without ever really seeing. This is not a flaw. It's how our brains work. Saving millions of energy and allowing us to zoom in on danger for millions of years, it's been the bee's knees. But it also means that what we see is strongly colored by our expectations. Even if you don't see at all, your experiences will be colored by your expectations. So here's an expert tip. You will experience things differently simply by changing your expectations. So how do we see differently? How do we change our expectations? Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Think of a blue-green circle. You activate the energy of abundant earth. Then you take a deep breath and you think of a yellow arrow and you align your consciousness with the spirit of life. Now when you open your eyes, you can take a fresh look at how everyone around you is integral to your life. Suddenly, there are new possibilities, new opportunities that you didn't notice before. Circle, arrow, fresh look. As you go through your day, remember to look at everyone from this new perspective. Refresh the images of the circle and the arrow in your mind as often as you need. Then look again. Your new magic power is yours to keep. Use it wherever you go. When things look overwhelming, catastrophic, devastating, and demoralizing, remember, circle, arrow, fresh look. Abundant earth, spirit of life, new perspectives.
I don't know this songwriter from the video, but I wonder if at some point in her life she forgot what a gift, what a miracle this world is. You know, sometimes when we have a hard time taking in beauty, it may be because we're depressed, or maybe because we're so angry with this world that we can't see beyond our grief. There are times when there's so much turmoil in our minds that the living, breathing world becomes kind of a flat background to our troubles. And then one day, for no apparent reason, you lift your head and wonder fills your heart. What a gift! What a gift! In the face of this miracle called life on earth, our first natural response, I think, is to say, thank you. Wow, thank you so much. And then we feel the fullness of that gratitude, and then our next response is, well, what gift could I give in return now that I've received this one? For me and my 4 new tomato friends, what I can give is my care and attention. I can let its fruit nourish my body, and I can think of the one who gave those plants to me, sending them loving kindness as I water. When harvest comes and there's too much for me, I can give them away. Receiving these tomatoes as a gift made me so happy, and they also made me feel accountable. An accountability that I gladly take on. At the end of February this year, I took my annual pilgrimage to the forest. And one night, nestled in the lodge at Lost Valley, I picked up Wall Kimmerer's latest book, The Serviceberry, An Economy of Abundance. What a gift. What a gift. I received her words with deep gratitude, and now I feel happily accountable to share the seeds of her wisdom, her mind, and her lovely heart. Before I became a Unitarian Universalist, and long before I became a minister, I was an MBA, grinding in the corporate world. I learned that economics is the study of scarcity, that everything in the marketplace must be defined as scarce, otherwise you can't put a price tag on it. Now, one thing I did not learn in business school was that the words ecology and economics share a Greek root, meaning home or household. I also didn't learn that there is a whole field called ecological economics, where scarcity is not the central principle. Instead, economics becomes a question of how we organize ourselves to sustain life for all and provide for everyone's needs. The International Society for Ecological Economics claims that 100 years of disciplinary specialization in scientific inquiry has left us unable to understand or manage the interactions between humans and the environmental components of our world. They are just one of many organizations working to imagine creative alternate possibilities for our common life on this pale blue dot. And a lot of them are looking back to our ancestors for some help. Kimmerer, who also wrote Braiding Sweetgrass, tells a story about a hunter-gatherer community in the Brazilian rainforest being observed by some anthropologists. A hunter had brought home this very sizable kill, far too much to be eaten by just his family. The researcher asked, well, how are you going to store the excess? Are you going to smoke it? Or are you going to dry it? What are you going to do? And the hunter was very puzzled by this question. Store the meat? Why would I do that? Instead, he sent out an invitation to the entire community, an invitation for a feast. And soon the neighboring families were gathered around until every last morsel was consumed. Now, this seemed like a maladaptive behavior to the anthropologist, who asked again, well, given the uncertainty of meat in the forest, why don't you store this meat for yourself? Which is what the economic system of the anthropologist's home culture would ask. And again, the hunter said, why? Why would I store this meat? I store this meat in the belly of my brothers and sisters. This story brings to my mind the story of the Israelites who were wandering in the desert after escaping slavery. There was no food to eat. But every day, as the story goes, God provided manna. Now, manna maybe was a kind of fungus that formed on the morning dew. It was only good for one day. You couldn't store it, you couldn't dry it, you couldn't preserve it. It seems that God understands the human tendency to hoard things and to claim things as mine, mine, mine. What if we chose to organize ourselves with less me, 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 and more we? Could we heal our relationship with the earth then? Could we heal our relationships with one another? Could we replace ownership with stewardship? Could we store food in the belly of our neighbors rather than in our private pantries? Models for an alternative to the market economy can be found in the gift economy of the serviceberry. This is also called shadbush or juneberry or Saskatoon. So here's our botanist describing how it works. Using the free raw materials of light and water and air, these serviceberries transmute these gifts into leaves and flowers and fruit. They store some energy as sugar in the making of their own bodies, but much of it is shared. Some of the abundance of spring rain and sun manifests in the form of flowers, which offers a feast to the insects. The insects then return the favor by carrying pollen. Food is rarely in short supply, but for the serviceberry, mobility is rare. Movement is a gift of the pollinators, but the energy needed to support buzzing around, that is scarce. So they create a relationship of exchange that benefits both. In summer, when the boughs are laden with berries, the serviceberry produces an overabundance of sugar. Does it hoard that energy for itself? No. It invites the birds to a feast. Are they not storing their meat in the bellies of their brothers and sisters, the jays and the thrashers and the robins? Just as money is the currency of the market economy, gratitude and reciprocity are the currency of the gift economy. Now, the gift economy is a very ancient form of organizing life so that we can provide for human need. It was built on interdependence during a time when we didn't draw such boundaries between what was yours and what was mine. Goods and services would just circulate without expectation of direct compensation. And this worked because there was a shared understanding of equity. It made sense that those who have give to those who do not have until everybody has what they need. But over time, we began to look at the world differently. We saw the trees and the minerals in the ground and the berries on the trees, not as gifts, but as commodities, items to be sold to the highest bidder. We replaced our natural abundance with a manufactured scarcity. We chose safety of accumulation over the grace of sharing. Today, we can see the gift economy in action in the potlatch ceremony practiced by the Indian tribes of the Pacific Northwest Coast. Wealth is given away in order to strengthen social bonds. Now, because of this, the early settlers and missionaries sought to suppress those ceremonies, hoping to hasten assimilation. The Canadian government, in fact, banned and outlawed potlatch for nearly 70 years. There are other examples of the gift economy. In our local setting, there is Solidarity Share Fair, offered several times a year. Once a year, it's held right here in the sanctuary by our friends at the Neighborhood Anarchist Collective. I think another great example is our own UU Share email list, because there we have goods and services that are offered out of our abundance. And today's plant share is another perfect example of the gift economy in action. There's also a group of church members here working on organizing community supper, where food is going to be prepared and served as a gift to anyone who comes to the table. What these alternative economies have in common is that they don't build wealth. They build relationships. They build social bonds. They strengthen those social bonds that we all need to thrive in this life. And is this not the world that we long for? Is this not the kind of community that we dream about? Is this not the possibility that we are called to embrace? In the early 1990s, Carl Sagan described the pale blue dot. It's a photograph of Earth taken by Voyager 1 as it headed out to interstellar space. And so I want to give Dr. Sagan our final word. Look at that dot, he writes. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it is everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of, every human being who has ever been. The aggregate of our joys and our sufferings, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter, forager, every hero and coward, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived here on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of this one corner of the pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner, how frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatred. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, our delusion that we have some privileged place in the universe are challenged by this one pale point of light. My friends, we are called to receive this world as a gift, and in return, give back some of that beautiful loveliness that comes out of you to make this a splendid place for all. May this be true always. Amen. Let's say our closing words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As you go forth from this sacred time, may you recognize the gifts overflowing from life. May you feel your connection to all that is in and on this earth. May you embrace new possibilities for yourself and for all beings. Go in peace, my friends. Go in love.